the show. Let's see what has been happening in the wrestling world. Welcome to the show, where comedy meets wrestling by fans for fans. The two counts, always the best guests in Midwest. The two counts, great time guaranteed because we're the best of the best. Meet Phoenix and JR, Top Shelf Tommy, we're about to start. Welcome to the two count. It's time to dig deep into the wrestling world. Welcome to the two count, where comedy meets wrestling by fans for fans. The two count.
The two count. The two count. Where comedy meets wrestling. Please comment, share, like, and start a hype train for God's sakes. And now, here are the hosts of The Two Count. Comedian John Russell, wrestling broadcaster Big Ace, and everybody's favorite heel, Top Shelf Tommy.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Good to see all of you here with us this evening. We just came off one of the most fun, historic, exciting wrestling weekends that we've had in a while. And we've had quite a few of them over the past year. But boy, it was sure so much fun to be able to go after 27 years to the first professional wrestling show at the Mall of America again, put on by F1rst Wrestling Saturday Nitro. And, of course, you guys went to the Fan Fest on Friday.
Yes, sir. Boy, oh boy, I'm still feeling it several days later because so much going on, so many different things, so many different hours at the Mall of America as well, not just with Fan Fest and the show, but hanging out beforehand with you fine gentlemen on Saturday beforehand. Oh, look, Luke's calling us nerds already after his post calling us nerds on Twitter. Oh man, see, this is
I mean, I would think the nerd would be the guy who like paused it, took the picture and zoomed in.
Well, you know what? He said he saw JR's red shirt. I'm sure he saw some of the posts that we had from our angle right there on the corner post. I mean, really, guys, I don't know if we could get better seats other than maybe the 3 rows in front of us, but even that, I don't know if they would have been technically better because the angles and everything like that. Maybe we would have, slapped hands with some of the wrestlers going through, but
slap hands.
Slap hands. I actually saw Waterboy for yesterday too, so
Nice.
or Sunday, excuse me. So it's been a full weekend and everybody. And before we go too far, I want to make sure that everybody's aware that the Cowboys lost on Sunday night, and that's another reason why I'm tired. So there you go, Ace. I love you so very much. I don't, but okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I said it, I think, a week or two ago on the show. I was like, oh, they're going to suck this year. And Dak's going to suck. He's afraid to get hit. Zeke's a piece of shit, has been for 2 years. And I called it. Fucking first game, and he's out like a month already. Like
6 to 8 weeks, so possibly 2 months.
They're hoping 4 weeks though, because he's Dak. Like fucking just get rid of him at this point.
I
Like,
just remember when he was flopping his ankle around the last time.
Oh, it's so gross, dude.
Well, I didn't want to necessarily talk about it so early, but I felt like after being bombarded with you and Cole Cannon a few weeks ago that I had to get it out just now, just to make sure you're aware that I saw the game, saw how bad it was. Your offensive line is garbage. So have fun suffering this year. Better luck next year. I know there's 60 more games to your season, but let's go Cowboys.
Tell you what, like I said, I had no expectations of a win, so I was not disappointed. I was more of just like, yep, that's what I thought. But I won in fantasy, so that's exciting because I suck at fantasy.
Well, that's how it goes. So now that we got all the minutia.
Oh, and just before we get to all this stuff, and trying to delay it too because I didn't do this ahead of time, but I'm grabbing a bunch of our pictures so we can get them on here. I went golfing on Sunday morning after we did all of this. First of all, I didn't drink, so not hungover, but tired, that's for sure, and feet hurt like a motherfucker. But I went golfing. I was 6 inches from getting a hole-in-one. I almost joined your club, JR.
Oh my gosh, that would have been great. You could have given up the game then.
I would not.
You're better than me, clearly. For those of you that don't know the story, I got a hole-in-one down in Rochester at Soldiers Field. I can't remember what hole it was. And then the next hole, I got an 18. And after that round of golf, I decided I don't need to do this anymore.
Yeah, you get a hole-in-one, you give it up, right?
I did.
You go walk-off home run on your first at bat, just give it up.
Done. My Hall of Fame career right there.
I know nobody cares, but I was very excited.
Well, 6 inches to the pin on any hole should get you pretty excited.
Yeah, and I have 3 witnesses, so it's not a lie.
I don't. I mean, we don't. What's the word I'm thinking? We don't fault you or think you're making it up at all.
I do, but it's me. So
yeah, that's all right. I expected to say
yeah. There we go. All right.
Goomba.
As long as it's expected, then we're good to go.
It's like the Cowboys sucking.
Perfect.
Well, yeah. I mean, but
so let's start out. Let's get away from all of that stuff because that's
there we go.
I'd like to hear. I mean, I know you told me a little bit about your experience up at the Fan Fest, which was at Fair on 4. But why don't you let me know some of the highlights of the folks that you got to meet? There were a ton of people there. A ton of people.
There was a ton of people. I got there before Ace and his crew with his nephews coming up as well. So as soon as I got in through the door, after they checked my bag, I was right in line with All Ego Ethan Page's line. Several people with the VIP passes, coming in. They got first dibs. No problem there. I understand. This is a line, We're all here to have a good time and meet some of our favorite wrestlers and some of our favorite people in the business. And so that's all it was. And I had bought both of the shirts when he had his vlog that were for fundraisers. So the Rue Beaver shirt for Bucky's and the Ethan is the Sheets for Sheets convenience stores or whatever. And so I got both of those, and I felt along the way that I couldn't wear them because I am an absolute sweat monster, and I would just ruin the shirts, and they're kind of one of a kinds, if you will, like they're never going to go back into press. So felt like I needed to maybe do something special. So I figured, when we did the Full Gear weekend, I did that bowling fundraiser as well, and I got all the Dark Order that was there to sign my Brody Lee shirt. I was like, you know what? That would be a good idea. And I thought, well, if these are already for fundraisers before, why don't I have Ethan Page sign these? Just talk to him about the idea. So I got his information. So I will be sending those off to him. He signed both the Rue Beaver shirt and the Sheets shirt. So I'll be sending those off to him this week for him to have Ruby Soho sign them. And then those will go up on his Whatnot as well. So look for that down the road, everybody. That's going to be an exciting little thing to not necessarily get our name out there because, again, this is kind of helping move the cause along, if you will. Anything you can do for charity is, I think, a positive thing. As much as I seem like a bad guy, everybody, I do have a small corner of my heart that is, it's not gold, it's more like fool's gold, but it looks good for the most part. So that's where this is coming from. I felt like it was doing a good deed. So he's all on board with that. He took one of our 2-count patches, which, by the way, if you guys want one of these, make sure you come to any event we're at, and you can snag one because
you'll have to hold it up again because he's got up the picture of you and Ethan Page right now.
Oh, sorry about that.
But it's still up there, so you're covered right now.
Yes, sorry. I'm
now you can hold it up.
Watching a different screen. There we go. Yeah, see, one of these fancy dancy 2-count patches. So Ethan Page has one of these. a bunch of the local people that were helping out with the event, like Heavy Metal Lore, Matt the Intern, Cal Creed, Brandon Gore as well. But yeah, and then met with Dante Martin real quick. Just, you know, because I've known him since he was, or known of him since he was doing a lot of the locals under a mask. I'm not necessarily going to give away all that information because, well, he was underage. So
Yeah,
that's his story to tell later at a different time. But anyhow, Dante Martin's super great dude. Ace got his picture with Lisa Marie.
Hey, Rudy.
How do you say her last name?
Varone.
Or former Tara, former Victoria. There we go. Super sweet person in real life. Don't let the picture fool you there. Super nice person. And then from there, we just, went over to Colt Cabana's table. He recognized Ace immediately.
So did Victoria. That was very nice. I've known her for a few years now.
So pop that picture up with Victoria again, though, quick. Now, for those of you that don't know, Ace is not a tall man, correct?
Yeah, no, not at all.
And
He's
Lisa is standing at her normal height.
Yeah. Big is because I'm fat, not tall.
No.
Come on, I wasn't even going to go there, man.
No. Don't be hard on yourself. This is ridiculous. Hey, Zach, good to see you, buddy.
Zach, you are right. Victoria is the best.
So, but here's the thing. So when you look at Victoria and you see her the same height as Ace, and then when she comes out to the ring, and the other talent is in there, and she's really kind of way taller than Free Range Kara, about the same size as Billy, and oh my gosh, it's amazing the height differences and stuff. Sin, how are you? Good to see you. King of the South, good to see you. Hello. Sin. Everybody loves you.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. I mean, in person, because it is very hard and deceiving on TV to get a good idea of really where they are height-wise. But again, super nice lady. I appreciated just being even in her presence, which is always a weird thing to say. Of anybody, really. I wasn't trying to be creepy, but I realized as soon as I said it, I was like, that sounds kind of creepy. And but no, she was super sweet. Got the picture for Ace there. And then, yeah, like I said, we moved over to Colt Cabana. He recognized Ace immediately just because of all the times he's been down in Waterloo. We found some great information as well. With that, Colt Cabana will now be part of the committee in Waterloo for the Hall of Fame down there. So that's very exciting.
Absolutely.
There he is.
I mean, he's every time that we've seen Colt Cabana, and I know Ace, you've seen him many more times than me, but he is absolutely super cordial every time we see him. Every time I've seen him.
Super guy. Super good guy.
Yeah. And I don't think anybody was, unaware of the transpiring week beforehand, but he seemed very unfazed by everything. Literally was all smiles the whole weekend we saw him, whether it was in the ring, on Saturday's show, at the Fan Fest. Nothing but good spirits from the guy, which is always good to see because honestly, he's one of those guys when he is around is very infectious, his personality and everything like that. So it was good to see him there and being, like I said, in all the good spirits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, that Fan Fest was a good time. Yeah, you got to meet a lot of people, Tommy, and you met most of them before I even got there. But I got to meet a couple people. I was pretty pumped about Jerry Lynn.
Yes.
Who's friends with my homie Wes Briscoe, so we were chatting about that.
We go.
Of course, Matt Cardona. I got to get that internet championship. Yeah, dude, it was cool to meet some of these people. Of course, the homie.
Clark Feldman.
You guys see who's photobombing us in that and back there? He was all about it that night. I just realized that.
Yeah, he was having a lot of fun with anybody who was taking photos in front of his own booth.
Dude, Jerry Lynn was photobombing everybody on Friday night. Dude, so who were you taking a picture with, Tom? It was you and.
Well, I mean, at one point, Super Atomic Thunder Frog was going to try and photobomb the picture with Eric Can and myself, and then.
No, but
Darren
you were
Corbin.
trying to take one, and I saw, like, Jerry was like, he saw them taking the picture, and he was like, oh, and he got up, and he was like trying to really slow, sneakily run over, and then they took the picture too quick, and he was just like, ah.
Yeah, it was a solo photo with me and Clark.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because I was like, I told Tommy, I was like, that was about to be the best picture ever that you didn't realize till you look on your phone. Yeah, Jerry was like, I was going to get in it.
Well, speaking of photobombing too, like, so this was later on in the night, but I want to kind of just drop this in there. We went over to House of Comedy just to kind of see what the crowd was like after we left Fan Fest, or when it was kind of wrapping up. And there's a group of people getting their picture taken as they came out the side door of House of Comedy, and I'm just literally just standing there like this the whole time. Just, I mean, it is from a distance too, so I just can't imagine if they're just all of a sudden just going back on that photo, like, who is this random ginger in the background? But
you pulled off an ultimate photo bomb, and on Saturday, and we'll talk about that, and maybe we'll even see if we could track it down and see.
Yes,
our friend.
Oh yes, John Maddening.
John Manny was there as well. Always good to see him.
He was giving me a hard time, by the way, too. Like
he's not a fan, apparently, Tom. I don't know.
Remember, you were mean to him when he was on.
I don't know, man. All I know is when Tommy asked for a picture, he immediately came and put his arm around me and was like, "Wait, you're in it too?"
Yeah, he was giving me the business, and I was not happy with it. By the way, I think Lab Glass is trying to get us into a hype train. So if anybody wants to
go
give an extra 100 bits,
and by all means, share this with everybody. Let them know.
Yeah,
we haven't even got into
30 seconds on that hype train, though. By the way,
but anyhow, John immediately when he saw me getting to the line with Ethan Page, he was already giving me a hard time then. And then Ace shows up, and he's like doubling down on giving me a hard time just in front of Ace. And then I literally told him, I go, dude, I saw you over at 1029. I didn't even hassle you there. I didn't bug you. Like, I didn't even come up and say hi because you're talking to people the whole time. Like, I didn't want to interrupt you there. He's just like, well, let's leave it that way. I was like, I'm gonna go cry over in this corner real quick. Tears on the inside. But
he's just not top shelf enough, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe he just wants to live on that middle shelf. You know, there's a lot of people who make a great success out of like Seagram's or Windsor. Those are really kind of more bottom shelf still, but
Kharkov.
That's some bottom shelf. That's some bottom shelf stuff, man.
Anyways, one good thing with John Manning though is he'll be coming back on the show soon. We started talking about exactly when that night, and we will finish those conversations. We were not rail level. I don't think I have any. Oh no, yeah, I do. So, well, first of all, let's we'll get some pictures from the show. There's Darren Corbin. So this shows you guys how kind of close we were. We were like right by the ring. Yeah. Look at this picture. We were like right in that corner coming off on the bottom left there.
Yeah. So the fourth row, technically, the first three rows were all golden circle. They paid a little bit more than we did, but still super fun being on the floor. I mean, again, you see this is right from the ring post area. Ace got up there and got a few pictures of after the Dante RVD match. We'll run through, by the way, as much as we can, and there's one of our other favorites, Billy Stark. She had a hell of a match too. But and you know what? I will say this. Oh, there we go. Yeah. You guys are harder seeing there. It says, what if Hulk Hogan's Postomania survived? And this will be a new question I ask any one of our guests.
This will now be in the Q&A section of our show.
Yeah, I mean, I threw it out there as a joke on this poster, and some people helped me later on it, like when I went back to the Fan Fest after you guys all left, and they were asking questions like, what would you think of that? I go, I don't know, man. Like, I was hoping he would have retired in 98 then, if that was the case. Like, just if he retired in 98, then we may not have along, and he might even not even been part of the NWO if he had a pasta empire to worry about.
Yeah.
This is true.
He would have probably never been in TNA, which would have never set that company back 5 to 10 years. I mean, come on, man. Like this is some primo stuff to be thinking of right now, right? This is all some hypotheticals.
I can't start the NWO. I got to go open a new Pasta Mania in Cleveland. I'm sorry, that sounds like Jesse, but
it's not too far off, brother.
We both sound the same.
Listen here, I can't be doing anything with this NWO, this new wrestling order, or whatever you want to call it, brother. Okay, I got to get up to Cincinnati. Then I got another Pasta Mania opening up, and Dayton. Dayton's going to be huge, brother. Like,
oh my god,
he's just really focusing on Ohio. I don't know why I said all this stuff. This is just dumb. I put a hypothetical out there on a flipping poster, and now I'm the only one thinking about it.
No, you had some people thinking. I saw it. So what we'll do before we get into the rundown, we'll share. This was just a video of the Open.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I don't know if I've ever heard them all this loud, and I've been there during the Christmas season.
3, 2, 1,
And even this audio is not doing it nearly the justice.
No, not at all.
And yeah, and if anybody in the chat, by the way, was watching on Fight, let us know what you thought of the show. I know JR bought it. I'm going to probably buy it and rewatch it just to see what was on there. So
I will say this: if you're interested in watching this show on Fight TV, it's only $13, which really, when you think about it, it's at least 3 hours, right? 2.5, 3 hours.
2.5. I think we finished like right up around like 9:30 or so.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth it.
It's definitely worth it. Absolutely. Now, is it all technically perfect? No. And part of that is because it's been 27 years since they've done a live wrestling show at the Mall of America. So there were a couple of hiccups, mostly with audio. The video was all spectacular. They had 2 chase cams. They had actually 3. There was a hard cam at the back. There were 2 people with handhelds, and then there was another chase cam back a few rows off center.
Yeah, man, they were working hard that night, putting on this good show. Then we start out with Eric Cannon coming out. Big night for him. They're very cool to go congratulate him afterwards. It was a successful night for sure.
It definitely was, and I'm and this is one of those things where, as a wrestling fan, especially one who's gotten more and more into watching independent wrestling on not only the Minnesota level, but all of our involvement with Madhouse and Absolute and Impact. Honestly, this is the kind of stuff that we all should be looking forward to, is when a promotion like F1rst can step up to this level. And really, I mean, it was a killer show, man. I mean, there's matchups here that you aren't going to find other places, like, the match after this one, this was this ended up being Eric Cannon versus Darren Corbin to start it off. But then literally the next match after this was Josh C versus Ethan Page, man. You're not going to find that anywhere. Maybe on a random episode of Dark, maybe, right? But
so for those of you who are comedians or know about comedy, let me kind of put what Eric Cannon does for the professional wrestlers up here in the Midwest in relationship. There used to be, and I don't know if you remember her, Tom, a woman named Rox Tarrant. And Rox pretty much retired from comedy. Actually just before the pandemic. But Rox used to put on shows. And New Year's Eve, as Tom, is the payday for comedians. Mm-hmm. It's the busiest night. It's the day that if you're a comedian and you're not getting paid on New Year's Eve, you're not doing something right. Well, Rock's
Or you
Karen.
might could, but like we'll cover that another
I
time.
get see. I'm not the kind of. I'm not the guy that's going to say that.
I'll say
Even though
it.
I know it.
I'll say it.
I know you
Top
will.
shelf. We'll say it.
But there was one New Year's Eve, and one of the last couple that she did, that Rox had 9 New Year's shows, which means she had 27, a minimum of 27 comedians that she was getting paid to do what they love on that night. And so when I see what Eric Cannon does with these shows that he does for F1rst Wrestling all over the place, right? He's in that same type of league for me as with Rox, in that yes, he's getting some national notoriety. Everybody knows him. But he's also making sure that people in our area that love professional wrestling and love what they do are afforded an opportunity to do it in front of a crowd that appreciates it. They get to practice their craft, and they get to get paid for it, and they get to be on a show like this. And to me, it's just like I can't tell you enough how much that means. Like, I can only assume, because I'm not a wrestler, but I mean, it's like Eric Cannon does all of this for these folks, and it's magnificent.
It certainly is, and you could see, especially with how high energy everybody was for the show. Not only just the audience, but honestly, every performer there went above and beyond. I mean, everybody just absolutely crushed it. We got to see a couple of matches in the pre-show. We were treated to a little bit of music. If you guys weren't following some of the Instagram and social media posts from us, go back and check out the weekend for some of those as well. And then, even just getting into the real Fight TV show, man, seriously, some of these matches were fantastic. And again, being able to bear witness to some of these matchups that you're just not going to see anywhere else as well. Orange Cassidy versus Effie. I mean, even the headliner the main event being what that ended up being too. I mean, you're not seeing that anywhere else. Not this time, not this level. So again, just an overall great show. We'll cover as much as we can in the time we have, guys. So strap in, man. We got a long show here. So
yeah, dude, it was definitely a good time. The crazy part is we kind of were like, probably won't do it again, right? Because it's, logistics, something that takes a lot of work to make it happen. You know what I mean? Because you got to think of all the people that were there. You know how many people we saw just stopping to watch that weren't like people who had tickets, and eventually we're getting told by security to keep it moving. You know what I mean? So that alone will drive more people to want to come if they do it again next year. And some of the people working for the mall were like, "Man, it went so well. Yeah, we might do it again." So that's very hopeful. To see if they can do it, because man, I mean, I told you guys there, I was like, if they do it again, I'd probably try to buy ringside next time, because it was just such a good time.
Oh yeah,
it was. No, they have done a Saturday Night Nitro before. It was at my neighbor's place over here, Rosedale Mall. But the section and area that they did that is no longer at the mall. They have actually torn that part out, which was, I think, the third level of an old, not JCPenney's, but I think like an old Sears location or something. So I mean, if it stays at Mall of America, that's probably better anyways for everybody. But again, historic night after 27 years, finally seeing a live wrestling show there at the Mall of America was fantastic. Really, I mean, overall, just fantastic quality from everybody. I mean, again, everybody doing what they need to do, stepping up. I mean, it was great.
How we doing, sir? All right. Well, I guess let's get into this thing here. So they made it sound like it was supposed to start at 5 and we were going to get a lot of matches, but obviously with something like this and crowd control, because again, you're trying to get people into an event while there's just people shopping. And some of the people who are running to get to the spots and stuff like that, I mean, that's a hazard, So a lot going on, so I can see why it got spread out. But Kyle Pro versus Big O Possum, a favorite of the 2 count,
Mm-hmm.
who we had the pleasure of talking to Friday night at FanFest, and man, what an interesting possum from Australia. Top Shelf was.
Yeah, he knows me, which I'm not frightened by it because there's a lot of vermin that hang outside my place, which is that's more of the concern than anything else, is just the amount of vermin that hang outside my place. But for Mr. Big O Possum, which, by the way, there's not enough people who know about Big O Possum. Okay, we had several people I was in line with at different points of the Fan Fest that were calling him Possum Man, which not a bad second name if you're going to go with it. But Possum Big O Possum had a couple times referred to me as Top Shelf. At one point, even called me Mr. Chelstrom, which I'm about ready to go to with this show. Just to let you guys know, like, I think I might change it up. Just go with Mr. Chelstrom on my tag here, just to see if it works. I know you guys won't call me that because you're insubordinate, but that's beside the point. But yeah, no, he was a great guy. He put back the beers, man. I mean, he was putting them back, man. I was proud of the dude.
Yeah, Possum can handle his beers. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
And his entrance music of Possum Kingdom is great. JR, what was your recommendation for him?
Oh, I believe that for those of you who are fans of the kind of hillbilly rock, kind of alt, Southern Culture on the Skids has a great song, and it's an old song. It's a cover of a song from the 1900s called Carve That Possum, and it would fit him perfectly.
I'm going to try and find a link on YouTube for this.
You can find it. You'll love it. We're not going to play it on here because we don't want to get copyrighted.
Never heard of it.
It's perfect for him. It's got the perfect rhythm. It's got the perfect hooks. It's people would sing along with it. People would sing along with it.
I'll tell you what.
Believe me, they would.
I don't know if he needs a change of song because he had a pretty good night because he beat Kyle Pro, even though Kyle Pro almost hurt his child, which isn't okay.
Yeah, you don't go after Joey. When Joey is resting in the corner, you just let Joey sleep. You do not go after the baby possum.
Leave baby possum alone. It got scary for a minute there. But
I don't want to be spoiler, but I did love when Big O played dead.
Playing possum.
Which you might be able to see on. I don't know if they're going to come up with a DVD for this one. I know F1rst has
I think
done that in the past.
And it'll just be on Fight. So again, everybody go stream it on Fight.
Yeah. Well, but Big O Possum and Kyle Pro are not. That is not on.
Oh, was it not? Okay.
No, the pre-show, none of that stuff is on. It's the Fight show was from when Eric came out.
Nice. Yeah. Hey, Big O Possum even said he may want to come talk on our show. So that could be real interesting, guys.
Yeah. So again, you guys got to just be paying attention every week to what we got coming up. That's for sure.
Big O
Australian Possum might be on our show. That's crazy. Then we get to Scott Story versus Just Jordan. I love Jordan, man. That dude's the shit. And I mean, the Kyle Pro Big O Possum match was pretty good, but like I feel like Scott Story and Jordan really got the crowd like really going.
Yeah,
in that match.
Well, so I've seen Scott Story on and off for the better part of like 5 years. You know, he'll pop up.
Yeah.
Whether it was Showtime before or Higher Ground, or I've seen him at a couple F1rst shows. I've seen him at maybe even some of the other ones in the area. I don't know exactly, but every time he comes out, and I'm not the most familiar guy with Scott Story, but he has a following. People know where he's at. People know where to see him, and he got a pretty big pop coming out. And I was a bit shocked by that because again, I only have seen him maybe over the course of 5 years, probably about 10 times, which makes in my mind seems more like he's real part time on this, but
are we just not hardcore enough, and that's why? Like, are we just missing some shows, guys? Let's be honest.
I mean, maybe, yeah. I'm probably missing a few shows up here, that's for sure. But comedy wise, man.
I mean, that's just it. You guys are comics and performing, and
Yeah, you can't see. You just
know,
can't see everything, though. I mean, it's almost
it's hard.
impossible if you have any
It's
kind
very
of
hard.
active social life where I mean, even that an active social life nowadays, if you have 4 weddings in a season to go to, you're all of a sudden just, I got these things and they're all on Saturdays. So now I'm missing this good show. Oh man, I'm going to miss that great show. Oh no. So it's not easy. That's for sure.
Thank God most of my friends are married already. Yeah, it was a good match though. Jordan walks away with the win. I think really I just like that he used the Tribe Called Quest for his entrance music. Can I kick it? Yes,
Yes, I can.
And then at this point, this is where it said special performance. The reason I say it like that is we all along kind of had an idea of what this might have been. We kind of had, and to be honest, everybody, I think maybe it was said on here, or maybe it was said when we were off, like not live. I don't remember.
I think it was when you're not live, because I don't think he could tell us at that point.
Yeah, but he still didn't really tell us. He just said that, oh yeah, I'm trying to get on that.
Right.
So we kind of knew that there was a really good chance that it was going to happen, and it just always works out that way. But like as we're like getting ready to go get in line, we walk by the ring area, and guess who we just randomly bump into? Our good friend Nerd D and DJ Hayes, baddest DJ in all of the Twin Cities. We ran into those boys, so obviously we knew that was our special 6:15 performance that we were getting. But it's always a pleasure to see our homie Nerd D. Will be coming back on the show October 4th after Monday Night Raw in St. Paul, Minnesota, where if you guys aren't already doing it, follow Nerd D on Instagram for your chance to win some ringside tickets with him to Monday Night Raw. So that's pretty sick.
That's right. And I don't think you and I
are we allowed to enter?
I mean, I've already liked the post, so I don't know if we're allowed or not. I mean, we basically feel like his family at this point, so I don't think we can win.
Yeah, we probably can't win.
I think we're a little too chummy with him now to get that stuff. I told Tommy, I was like, well, I mean, we did bring him to Dynamite with us, maybe, but no, like, and I wouldn't want to take that anyways. Give it to one of his fans. That's dope. Yeah. I'm gonna go anyways because, guys, it's like $20, $25 for like their cheapest ticket, which is the top of the lower level at the XL, which if you've never been there, that's the concourse. That's the prime spot. That's prime spot. You ain't got to walk no stairs. Yeah. Bathrooms and food are right behind you. And they were doing buy one, get one for a little bit. They may still be doing it. So
I think they are actually, because I think I saw that promoted through like a sponsored WWE Instagram story. So yeah, they're still available there at the XL Energy Center. Not always the easiest parking, but if you know a few spots and if you're willing to walk maybe a block or two, you can find some pretty cheap parking. So,
it's the same. Yeah, so definitely check that out with Nerd D. He came out, he smashed it. Him and DJ Hayes. I do wish the crowd got a little bit more into this part of it. Maybe just because I stood the whole night anyways, because I didn't want to be scrunched between. Let's be honest, we had 5 of us were in a row, and out of the 5 of us, only one of them is skinny. So
and he went to the end.
And he went to the end, that little shit. Sorry, I know I swore again when we're trying not to be that dirty anymore.
Well, and to be real fair too, he somehow found a way of getting a seat between them, which I thought everything on the floor was
that was him. That was the people next to us, because I was telling you guys, I was like, if this is sold out, they're going to have to move. Why would they leave one random seat in between if every ticket's sold?
Well, and I did feel kind of bad for the usher that was in our general area. Sweet little gal and stuff like that, but she's trying to maneuver enough people. Like, you're going to have to move down. I got to have a spot for a couple of people. I was like, just tell them to move. They understand what they bought into and stuff like that. But again, a very sweet employee of the mall there and stuff like that. She was just doing her job, and
MOA needs to get those people some more radios, though, because they were using their phones to call each other to be like, you got 4 seats over there? And it was like, dude, just get them the radios, the earpiece. That's so much more work. But, dude, I don't know how he pulled that off. But anyways, I chose to stand because I didn't want to sit like this all night. I just didn't want to. I knew I was going to sit in the car on the ride home. So what the hell? Why might I as well stand all night?
Well, and I'll tell you guys one thing. I'm not normally shocked by anything anymore. I've seen enough things in my life. I'm not normally shocked. But when Nerd D gave your old boy a top shelf call out, I was very pissed off. I was not recording the whole dang thing. So then I could just have that on loop just to drop to these two guys all the time. Be like, hey, you guys remember that time that I got a call out and you guys didn't?
Yeah, but the thing is, though, like, that wouldn't even work because you know what we would do? We would just hit him up and be like, can you just give us, like, actual personal messages about how much you love me and JR? So then when it's just, shout out top shelf, but then it's like a 3-minute, Ace is such a good guy. And here's why. And I love JR because, I mean, it's going to kill yours. I mean, like, I'm just saying.
That's the thing. It wasn't in front of like
don't
600
bring a
people.
knife. Don't bring a knife to a gunfight. Like,
you can't win this battle because he did it impromptu. He saw me with the Pasta Mania sign. But to be real honest with you, though, when he did the top shelf motion and no one but me reacted to it, I'm not going to lie. It was the most mark I've ever been in my life, and I'm very proud of it. Thank you, Nerd D, for the shout out.
Tom
yes,
such a huge
dreams do come true, baby.
Aw. Well, we told him you were Make-A-Wish, so
Is that why I'm on the show?
Yeah, we were like, dude, he's got 6 months.
It's been almost a year.
Oh no, this is what we told him at the mall.
No, I know that, but like
we
it's almost
told him
been a year
we'd get rid of you,
show.
and he'd be coming on with us.
You know, honestly, that would actually be. I would actually watch that if you guys kicked me as your third host. I'd still watch it. I'd be mad, but I'd still watch it.
I mean, there's been talks. Anyways, wasn't us.
What?
Wasn't us. We didn't bring it up. Anyways, we're going to get back to this. No, Nerd D absolutely killed it. Him and DJ Hayes, they had some really good seats the rest of the night because they got to sit in production and watch it, and I could see them. Here's the deal. If you've never hung out with Nerd D watching wrestling, you should, if he'll let you, because he is such a good time. Like, he is that guy that, like, when we were at Dynamite, him and I were, like, hitting each other, reacting to the matches and stuff. Like, just a fan. So it was good. He was having a good time. Everybody was having a good time. That crowd couldn't be any better, right?
Yeah.
No, that was insane. I mean, like it said, I mean, these are wrestling fans, so I can understand if they're not used, if they haven't been to a WrestlePalooza, which, to be fair, if there's kids there, they're not normally allowed at WrestlePalooza. I think you got to sign some waiver or something like that to get your kid in to First Ave for those shows because they're not kid friendly per se. But so him being at the mall there, and it's Nerd D. I mean, he is family friendly, he's kids friendly when he needs to be, and then he can turn on all the adult entertainment as far as lyrics and music and stuff. Man, the dude is multifaceted, multi-talented, and DJ Hayes killed it too. So I'm glad we were able to get some videos, some photos of those guys on stage and doing their thing because. Man alive, man. That was a heck of a performance. Dan, what's going on, man? Yeah, how's life, bozos? How dare you? You're just mad because your Packers lost.
He's just talking
thanks,
to
Danny.
you.
Thanks, Danny. Good to see you, buddy. So then we get into the show. You saw that opening there. Our good friend John Manning in the ring, kicking it off. The crowd going nuts, bringing Eric Cannon out, who then gets interrupted by Darren Corbin. Little turn of events, though, as these two are going kind of getting in each other's face. One of the hardcore legends, one of the best just wrestlers ever, and probably one of the best to come out of the state of Minnesota, if not the best. Jerry Lynn comes out and gets in the middle, says he knows both guys, he's wrestled both guys, he's seen them since they were young. How about they face each other? It was great.
Yeah.
Corbin, not really with it. I love that they did the Back to the Future, spot for that. Basically, like, what are you, chicken?
Yeah.
I don't remember what they actually called him that night. What was it? Like
Coward.
Yeah, that was a coward. And coward chants going on and everything. So then we get this match. Eric Cannon, Darren Corbin, which we know is going to be good. You already know it's going to be good. These guys are always going to put on a great show.
And they did.
Okay.
Oh, I was going to say, talk about underrated.
Talk
guys.
about the match, boys. That's what we're here for.
Talk about underrated guys. Darren Corbin is, in my mind, one of the most underrated heels in the Midwest and probably in independent wrestling. His facial expressions are money. And the way that he turned back and looked at the camera and looked at this guy knows what he's doing. And how he is not somewhere else and not had the chances that some of these other guys have, I don't understand.
Yeah, no, he's absolutely amazing. I always cheer the heels because it's a lot of fun when everybody else is cheering for the good guy and I'm out here cheering for the bad guy. And to be real fair, when everybody seems to be hating on him for his red hair, and that seems to be the only thing, it kind of cuts me a little deep, everybody. I gotta defend the fellow redhead, the fellow ginger, if you will. One, because you know what? JR is right. He is magnificent. He's great on the mic. He's a great performer. He does a lot of things that I don't think everybody understands exactly how good he is at those things. And to see this as the opening match for the WrestlePalooza Championship, or so we thought. Because
that plays into the genius
of Darren Corbin. That's right. So we get into the match. It is assumed to be a championship match, but Corbin only agreed to the match, never to put on his title on the line. So as Eric Cannon is celebrating, the title is pulled out of his hands by Mr. Red Hair Don't Care, the Merc with a mouth himself, Darren Corbin, saying, again, you stole my moment. I'm stealing your moment. This was not for the title. So you might have won, but I am still WrestlePalooza champion. Like the best heel in the game would be. Bravo, Darren Corbin. And in a hell of a way, again, of starting out this epic night and historic night from All America.
Yeah, dude. Get the set, the tone set. It was a good vibe. Everybody was good. We're ready. We just had some fun matches, some nerdy. We just had this banger of a match, two of the mainstays here for F1rst Wrestling. So how do you follow up with that? Well, we bring out the front man, our friend Josh C., who we got the pleasure of running into a few times throughout the weekend and chatted with him. Always a good friend. Josh C. taking on all ego Ethan Page, Tommy's boy. And let me tell you, what a banger, because we already know how good Ja is. We already know how good Ethan is. And we got to see it right in front of us. One hell of a match.
Well, and I have a tendency for matches that we don't get an opportunity to see regularly, like this one. I did yell out, and the people in front of us and behind us heard me say, and so they, even though I have none of their names, they can verify that I said this. I said, thank you very much for putting on this match. I am very appreciative because, again, we've all seen Josh C. We know exactly how good he is, and we've all seen Ethan Page, whether it be on Impact before or now on AEW, or even if you've been to some shows, we all saw him at the Bauhaus show last year with F1rst as well. The dude is just fantastic, man. Like, he knows the pace of a match and how it's supposed to work. I mean, literally, he just knows how this is all supposed to work, and still gonna. And I think until the moment he gives it up, man, he will be one of my favorite. Like, always going to be one of my top 5 guys. Ethan Page, right there.
Ethan Page is fantastic. And another guy, we talk about Darren Corbin being underrated. Ethan Page, super underrated. This guy, we saw not at the when he was at Bauhaus 2 shows ago. Absolutely fantastic. And he brought it again, not only with the match, but with his shenanigans for his announcement, etc. Ethan Page, absolutely one of my favorites as well.
Yeah, so again, you guys got to go back and watch. Go get the replay on Fight. It's seriously worth the $13. I mean, I know that I've resubscribed, and Dan has resubscribed, and I think Renee Thoughts resubscribed already as well for the month. But if you got another $30 on you guys, seriously, go back and watch this night, because us explaining and describing all this stuff is not doing nearly the justice it deserves, especially with how these guys' intros went for Josh C. and for Ethan Page. Again, brilliant stuff. Go and watch it. You're going to do yourselves a load of favors by seeing how everything played out and not just listening to us on this. So Fight TV, again, only $13, guys. I mean, that's a hell of a deal for these matches that and a couple of them might even be like a once in a lifetime. We don't know where a lot of these guys are going to go. So these could have been once in a lifetime matches. Just saying, not to sell you guys any harder than I have to, right?
There we go. We got Jesse in the back, John, and good old Ethan Page. This is when he was, for one night, he was a resident of the Radisson Blue Mall of America, and then changed it later to not even one night. He's leaving as soon as the match is done. I don't blame him. I'd leave the mall too right after.
That's true. I think you even cheered that because you were from Rochester, and yeah, why would anybody?
No. Hang on. Let's get it straight. It wasn't a Rochester Twin Cities thing. It was a fucking Minnesota thing. Sorry, but I had to say it because why would I care between the cities and Rochester? They're just a smaller version of that. Like, no, just Minnesota sucks.
I was going to say, Dan just sent us.
You're going to move to Texas eventually, aren't you?
Hey, keep it kayfabe, man. I don't need to know that.
Spoilers.
Yeah,
Dan,
come on, be a Dallas fan.
Danny just sent us a picture in Messenger of him with Ethan, and I'm not able to get it up, Dan. Nobody cut that, please. That didn't come out the right way. I'm not able to upload it, download it, and upload it.
Get it.
Just shut up.
So does Dan help you?
Let me work on it and see if I can get it here. No, I can.
He sent it over to you privately or to our group?
No, he sent it to. Did he send it to the group?
Oh, I'm sorry. I got to switch over to the 2-count one.
No, he sent it to Dave and I. Ace and I have one with him.
Yeah, you're not included, Top.
I see. I see. This is another one of those ones where you're trying to find another co-host. I get it. I understand.
Oh, wait, there I go. Hold on, I'll get it figured out here. Don't worry.
Okay, well he does that. We had a big match right after this. The fun kept going, guys. 4-way for the Uptown VFW title. Riley Jackson, Lindsay Dorado, wow.
Yeah.
Brandon Gore, one of Top Shelf Tommy's all-time enemies. And then the champ, Devon Monroe, defending. And, man, again, such a great match. I mean, we know Riley Jackson is athletic. He can go. Lindsay Dorado, wow. Amazing. We know Devon Monroe's amazing. And even even good old Brandon Gore did pretty good in that match, even though he had Tommy letting him know. Now, here's the funny thing. Should we talk about what happened Friday night with Brandon Gore then?
Absolutely. So just to give you guys a little background, I have been yelling at this man that he has the worst tattoos in wrestling. And I have no qualms about saying this in front of masses of people, whether it be at the Eagles Club in St. Paul for Higher Ground, or whether it was the last time I went to an AWF show that he was on in Egan, or the Bauhaus show. He heard me directly say to him, with F1rst, worst tattoos in wrestling, and he just stares me down and gives me the what? And we clarified on Friday. This is not that I don't like the person. I understand his skill level is through the roof, everybody. Like, he calls himself the legitimate athlete because he is legitimately athletic. This guy has gone through the ropes. I think he was a former football player, definitely an amateur wrestler. I think he was a track star, and I think he's also a baseball player. So he is, he is what he promotes himself as, a legitimate athlete. And he shows it off all the time. And he couldn't hear me on Saturday night because, again, the crowd was quite loud, but I was uttering the same words, worst tattoos in wrestling. And he told me to just keep it up because it might just catch on and get him a little bit more heat, which, I mean, any kind of good wrestler will know. Any kind of promotion, any kind of words said about you is still good press. Well, at least on that level.
Now, Tommy's leaving out one part about Friday night, though, and that is when he was talking to Brandon, he was like, oh, yeah, so I'm the guy that yells at you about having the worst tattoos in the business. And immediately Brandon was like, I thought you looked familiar. And then it got kind of tense for a second. And then we were okay.
I did tell him that we also have discussed this on this show with Bill Williams.
We did.
Who has some of the best tattoos in wrestling.
And I put the offer out. I said, Brandon, you got to come on and defend yourself now. You got this jerk Top Shelf Tommy calling you out for these bad tattoos. You got to come defend yourself. So we're going to get that going with Brandon Gore. We're going to get him on here. We're going to let him rebuttal Top Shelf over here with the worst tattoos and see where that goes. So look forward to that. We got to talk to a lot of people this last weekend, guys, that we got a whole new slate of guests that are going to come through in the next few months. So including some old favorites and some more great people from our friends and our great shows in Iowa too. So it's going to get a lot of cool stuff going. So
I think through November we're going to be pretty well packed. It's just more, getting on everybody's schedule, make sure everything can work out. Because I did talk to even Devon Monroe on Saturday after the show at Fair on 4. Because I've seen him for a long time. He knows my cousin and her husband. So literally. Super cool dude. Just talked to him just briefly, gave him one of the 2 count patches and stuff. And I said, I'll reach out to you, man. We'll try and get you on the show. I just know we're going to be super busy through October already with guests, guys. So again, this is going to be kind of just boom, 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 boom. We're going to keep moving through everybody as many people as we can. But yeah, so now we can even start lining up guests in November, which is insane since it's only the 13th of September. But
to be real honest, Tom, by the time I'm done, we're going to have probably through the Rumble booked up. So
yay!
I'm going to pop. While we're doing it, I'm going to pop Dan's picture up with Ethan Page.
There you go.
And Ethan Page always. Ethan Page is a tall guy too, so Dan must be 3 feet in front of him.
Ethan Page, class act. Anyways,
really
that match was such a good match, 4-way match. Devon Monroe retains the title. So that was, again, this show's just cooking right now. Yeah. We now get into our next matchup, and we have special guest referee Lisa Marie Raul, a.k.a. Victoria or Tara, whatever she was, wherever you watched her, just all around badass. I did think it was kind of funny that she came out in full ring gear, even though she was just the ref. Yeah, like I would have thrown a ref shirt on her, but that's just me. Maybe they didn't have one. Maybe it was like a last minute thing to do because she was also not telling people she was there.
That's true.
And now at Friday night, she was telling everybody like, "Oh yeah, I'm just going to be watching it. I'm not on it or going to be there or anything."
Yeah. Now, to be fair though, the referees' uniforms for the night were a throwback to classic WCW with the blue button-up short sleeves and the black bow tie. So maybe that was why they maybe not have had a referee's jersey for her.
Dude, you're at the Mall of America. You can find it.
I mean, yeah, you can just go.
Now wait a minute. Now let's be honest.
There is a Foot Locker around. Come on, you can.
Isn't there a Champs still?
Wait a minute. Stop.
Champs or Foot Locker. They're the same thing.
Oh, are they?
Who wants to see Victoria in a referee's outfit? Nobody.
Well, no one, but it makes sense for the match.
It makes sense. You know what? Come on.
Well, JR was kind of pushing me the whole time. Like, you see her? She's look how good she looks. Huh? You see how good she looks? She's my age. Like, she's not your age.
She's just a little bit younger than me.
Much younger than JR. By about 150 years.
Wait, hang on. How old are you, though, JR? Like, for real. Put it
216.
I did look up how old she is.
I'm 61. I'm 2 years younger than Sting.
Sting! Okay, I think she's 52. Is what I've seen. 52. But again, special guest referee, you got Free Range Kara, one of Top Shelf Tommy's all-time favorites, taking on one of the 2 counts, just all-time favorites, Billy Starks.
Yeah, I had to explain to people again behind us that saw me turn my back to the ring yet again during Free Range Kara's entrance. It is not that I don't appreciate her abilities. She's a fine wrestler, but she's basically she's calling herself basically a chicken with Free Range Kara, and she's a farmer. And not to besmirch farmers, But anytime that is in a wrestling promotion, they don't last very long, and they definitely aren't winners most of the time. So that's all I'm thinking. Because I remember her as Caranoia, and I know I'm breaking some fourth wall stuff for some of you people here, but she was Caranoia before, which, fine character name, fine abilities, should have just kept with that. Don't know how she came on Free Range Kara, but until the day she stops being Free Range Kara, I will continue to turn my back to the ring when she's making her entrance, because that is the only way I can show my protest to her being in matches.
I think she's.
And that's, again, it's a personal thing because, again, I just don't like the character. Her abilities, not in question.
She'd be very better off as Hillbilly Jill.
Very talented gal. Tall task in front of her, though, with Billy Starks, who's just all over the country.
I would say all world. Yeah, her abilities.
Yeah. I mean,
I want to say that I had a ton of fun knowing that everybody in the crowd was behind Kara, except for our chunk. The guys behind us and some of the other folks that were near us were all in on Billy Starks, and it was "Let's go Kara," Billy Starks chant, and it was awesome.
It was
we were trying our best.
I'll tell you what, if the people working at the stores and just shopping that day, if they didn't know what a wrestling show is all about, they found out, because I mean, this was an indie crowd at an indie show in one of the most biggest public places in the world. You know what I mean? So, like, part of the spectacle for these people who were shopping in the stores and the workers, it wasn't even just the wrestling, it was the fans too, because the chants were loud and strong that night, and they were loud. The music was banging. They had a really good sound system in there. Like, they really did well how they placed that about. I thought, considering what you're working with, not the most, PA friendly, thing. Yeah. It's a giant rotunda. So, it was just, it was so much fun. Free Range Kara does get the win, so we were a little heartbroken over that, but we saw maybe a little bit of a mean streak in Billy a little bit, because she wasn't too happy with referee there, Lisa Marie.
She was disappointed.
Kind of some slow counts. Kind of some slow counts from Lisa Marie. I'm not going to lie.
This may be true.
I mean, it might be an opinion, but it's still not a lie.
I may agree with Top Shelf on this one.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm not going to
some clarification.
I will not deny that. But then Lisa Marie with the Widow's Peak on Billy Starks, taking her out. Man, I'll tell you what. I hope we get some resolution to that in a F1rst Wrestling ring at a future show, because I'm all. That would be great.
I would be right there again, paying money for F1rst to see Lisa Marie, Veron, and Billy Starks, because one, Billy's amazing. I mean, she is still so young and she's doing so much that, and it's not because she's been on the show. Everybody just thinks I'm always like trying to pine for the people who've been on the show. No, the reality is I appreciate what she does, and Lisa Marie has been all over the world herself, all the major promotions, and has really shown her abilities as well. So, like, I think she still has some give and some go in that tank. So, I'm with you, Ace. I would love to see that matchup for sure.
I hope we get to. Moving along in the card, we now get one of the big matches of the night, one of the most advertised and biggest headlining match of the night, and that is Effie taking on Orange Cassidy from AEW.
Mm-hmm.
I first of all, it's always great to see Effie, because from the entrance with Goodbye Yellow Brick Road and everybody singing along to just the absolutely just the demeanor that he has in the ring. It's awesome. There's another guy who underrated, I think, in a lot of ways. And then to hear that Starship song start, it's one thing to see it on TV, It's another thing to hear it live and then have Orange Cassidy come out.
Mhm.
And the whole thing was just it's spectacle at its best. I just loved it.
Well, and you're not wrong. And Effie cut his hair back a little bit, everybody. So if you're used to the scrubbier looking Effie, he's trimmed up a little bit. I think it's a better look for him personally, but that's because I keep my hair pretty tight here. But
right, really fun match, really entertaining, good time. Always a good time with these guys when they're in the ring together. Orange gets the win, but the crowd was the real winner on this one. I mean, that was just a lot of fun. We move along, Rumble in the Rotunda. All right. Okay. Let me read this because there's a lot of stuff going on here. You had, and I'm just going to read the names of everybody who was in it. I'm not. We had Warhorse, Ryan Cruz, Cal Creed, Shane Black, Super Atomic Thunder Frog, Dark Sheik, a returning Badger Briggs, Black Stallion, ESQ, Heavy Metal Lore, right? And the eliminations go Creed, ESQ, Briggs, Black Stallion, Lore, Cruz, Black, Warhorse, final two, Dark Sheik, Thunder Frog. Thunder Frog gets the win. Okay.
So let me start off here. So you mentioned Badger Briggs with the return. That was huge, especially everybody who's been watching the last couple of years. She's had a few issues with some knee stuff. It was good to see her back. I thought she was just helping out with the show. I did not know she was going to be on it, so that was a huge surprise for everybody.
She got a huge pop too, by the way. Huge.
She certainly did.
And a welcome back chant.
Yeah,
she did. And I was apparently the only one who, outside of his family, knows who ESQ is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just to give, I mean, I filled you guys in a little bit. I know ESQ from back when it was Showtime, because that's when he stopped wrestling, was when, before High Ground was High Ground, when it was Showtime and all that sort of stuff. He was part of the Firm, and the Firm was my buddy and a guy that JR knows, Ricky Noren, or the Renaissance Ricky Noren, along with
on October 11th.
Yes, October 11th, he will be on the show. So looking forward to that. Young Gun, Riley Jackson, and then ESQ as really the muscle of the group. And so he made his return. I might have been the only one that popped outside of his family, but I will go to my death knowing that, if anything, I at least cheered for a guy who it's been probably about 6 years since he last wrestled. And apparently this is just a one-time thing, but still good to see ESQ. And, he held his own. He was the second one eliminated, but still held his own in this match.
Yeah, it was a good time. I thought the move would have been having Badger Briggs win this in her comeback. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think, JR?
I would agree. I mean, Badger Briggs would have been a good winner. Sheik, crowd behind Sheik quite a bit. Sheik could have certainly won. I not that I dislike the Thunder Frog.
No, and you know what? Crowd favorites, especially them all
absolutely.
Like that, or at a show like that, and especially for the non-wrestling fans who are like walking around. Because let's be honest, do you think this would be an interesting question to ask if we could get Eric Cannon on here? Do you think in his head he paid any attention to hooking those people who have not seen this before but were going to be in the mall that day, casually walking by? Do you think he, like Thunder Frog, that's something you don't normally see. So like a casual person just at the mall sees this, ends up standing there for 10 minutes, that might become a brand new fan. Do you think that was in his head at all during this? I mean, there's just so many different factors that go into putting a show on like this in a venue like this. But do you think, because we saw, I mean, at one point you guys were like, hey, look to your right, and it was that walkway that was down a little bit, and it was just full of people sitting so they could see it and filming it. I mean, for the first half of that show, it was packed with people just trying to watch it that weren't actually in the ticketed area.
Right. I think again, Eric Cannon is a very smart man, and I would think that he certainly put some thought into that type of thing. Not only not only with Thunder Frog, but for the show overall. I mean, clearly he brought some national names in that people would know. You know, even a casual fan at this point, I think, might know who Orange Cassidy is. Maybe not. Who knows? I don't know. I don't consider myself a casual fan. But these are some names that I think would bring casual fans to take a peek. And who knows how many people did not get tickets, were not able to get tickets, and we're still trying to hang around and see it.
Well, I did see multiple people go up the escalators by the rotunda and then down the escalators by the rotunda. Up the escalators of the rotunda, down the escalators of the rotunda. So I think there was a few people who were taking advantage of the fact that they could not shut those down, and were watching as much as they could. And good for them too. I mean, seriously, taking advantage of what you can. And I mean, there's always going to be some looky-loos when you have shows like this. I mean, again, over the summer, Higher Ground had a show at Shane Black's dad's bar in St. Paul Park, and not necessarily a lot of foot traffic or anything like that. People who were going to the bars still swinging by the backyard there and seeing what's going on, and they'll watch a little bit here and there. And wrestling is one of those things that will just draw people in, not just because it's loud and there's a lot of action going on, but there's generally a curiosity behind watching the event itself. I mean, not only just because of what's happening, but you have the fan interaction, you have the music, you have the spectacle really of it all, and it's still going to drive people in. I think you're right, Ace. I think that's a good point. Like with a guy like Thunder Frog, or even just some of the characters that we're seeing in these shows, I think that's a good thing to try and get people involved, and especially the early part where you're seeing a lot of kids kind of just, they're mesmerized by this. This is not something that's normal to them. And, you catch them young, man. Like, hopefully you keep those fans for life, man. I mean, that's where I was, fan as a kid, fan now.
Yeah. On average, like weekend day, the Mall of America is the third biggest city in Minnesota, is what I'm reading. So, I mean, that's just a potential of so many people seeing your product that would normally not see it just by being in the Mall of America that day. Yeah. Plus, let's also throw out big weekend in Minnesota because we had the Viking Packer game here. So a lot of people in town for the weekend due to that game as well.
Yeah. And you also had the Twins against the Guardians.
Oh, is that a thing?
Which at that point, they were up until they got swept this weekend. But
baseball's still happening.
Yeah, but here's another thing too. I wanted to. It was so fun with that Rumble to be able to do the countdown.
Yeah, 100%.
That was super
100%.
fun. And then the countdown reminded me that we didn't mention this. If you do choose to purchase the playback on Fight TV,
which
you should definitely. It's $13. That's nothing. You'll notice that the graphics are also a tip of the hat to the old WCW Nitro.
Oh, you didn't notice that?
No, we talked about it. Yeah, Jay and I.
We were there. We haven't mentioned it yet.
Yeah.
Oh, because you mentioned that you'll see it on the fight, so I didn't know if you didn't notice it till you watched it back. Because I noticed it right away when they said live from the Mall of America during the open on the big screen behind them.
Yeah.
The Jumbotron. Yeah, man. We move on to our next match, and that is Dak Draper taking on a Boom Boom Colt Cabana.
Absolutely. This was I'm not too familiar with Draper.
He was good,
but yeah, that physique is something to behold. But you know what? This was a really fun take on it. Neither guy in the match was taking themselves too serious. Honestly, it was just one of those good old fun, like back and forths, with some posing and some, trying to interact with the audience and stuff like that. I mean, these two guys knew exactly what they were doing in this match, and that was to keep everybody alive and raring for the headline, or the main event. Excuse me, I'm so used to saying headliner. The main event, and but seriously, they pulled in a hell of a match against each other too.
Yeah, I think Dak Draper does some of the Second City stuff. I think I've seen But I was very impressed. It was a fun match. It's always good seeing Colt Cabana in the ring, and it's always fun to see him have somebody that can match kind of the funny, goofy side he brings to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We then get ready for the main event, which I was sad. I could have won another match after that because we were having a good time.
Yeah.
We were.
Good times were a rolling. Dante Martin takes on Rob Van Dam. And it was fun, man, for a couple minutes. That was fun because of the crowd. Everybody was behind Dante, everybody was behind RVD, and everybody was like ready. They were trading some stuff early on. And then Sonny Kiss. Some music hits.
Out of nowhere.
And then, to be real honest, I forgot Sonny Kiss was there till that happened. Like, totally slipped my mind that he was advertised. So Sonny Kiss comes out, then brings out Daivari as well, the Trust Busters in F1rst Wrestling, and this turns into a tag match.
So it's funny that you mentioned Trust Busters because I wasn't sure if that was going to be able to be a thing outside of AEW just because of copyright stuff or whatever. But yeah, they were right there. Sonny literally just said, I'll fight you. I'll be part of this match. And then, it goes from being a one-on-one to, possible three-way to all of a sudden now it's a tag team match. And heck of a good match still. I was still trying to keep up with everything, like type it into, make sure we didn't miss any matches because sometimes we have a tendency to get too involved with what's going on in front of us and then totally forget that we're going to do a recap of any of it. So
I wanted to say, and because I did tell Ace this, but at the show, it's not that I disliked the fact that it turned into a tag match, but I would have been perfectly happy with RVD versus Dante. I would have been perfectly happy with that. Didn't need it.
Darren
Corbin. But always happy to see Daivari, happy to see Sonny Kiss on this show. And I think some of the things that Daivari said before he came out was, you're going to have this historic event and you're not going to have the first WrestlePalooza champion. And it's like, yeah, man, that makes perfect sense. Okay, come on in. So I certainly was not disappointed when they did come in, but but it was a fantastic match and everybody went away happy.
That's right. And that was the end of the show.
It was not. It was not the end of the show because we
had Derek. Was that no? So that wasn't at the end though.
It was at the end.
No, that had to have been before, wasn't it?
No, it was at the very end.
Was
Darren Corbin came out with the button-up, no collar,
the
homage to one Lex Luger.
Kinda.
Again, you got to go back and watch to see for yourself. But paid a little homage. He's finally trying to get his moment, and then this moment now was then spoiled by Jerry Lynn, mostly because Darren was already calling out Jerry Lynn for messing up his previous moment early in the night. And so we got a good old chair shot from Jerry Lynn. And then everybody went home happy.
Yeah. And the great line to end it all was, sorry, Mom, sorry, Dad. That's what you call tough love.
Yep. Jerry just, man, so great. It was such a good night, such a fun time. Afterwards, we got to go see Nerdy and DJ Hayes, talk to them for a bit. That was a pleasure. Check out the Instagram. We got that photo up there. We got
Clark.
Got our boy Clark, my brother. Same mom and dad, if you look at us.
True.
It is. We look very much alike. And then, we talked to Eric Cannon, congratulated him on a hell of a show. Dude, we got to talk to quite a few people. Like I said, we walked away after Friday and Saturday with a good handful of people that we've not had on here yet that you're going to get a chance to see. What's up, Pluggo?
Pluggo!
So
Yeah.
One hell of a time. If they do this again next year, if they bring First Wrestling back and they do a show at the Mall of America, if you are in the Midwest, well worth coming to town for the weekend. Get a ticket. They are going, especially if they do it again and make it yearly, they will sell quick. I mean, we got our tickets right when they went on sale and we had seats. I talked to people who tried like an hour or two after they went on sale and they were automatically on like the third level. And Tommy, well, we all were up there. That fourth level, like, it's a good thing they didn't fill it as much as they did, because like that fourth level, unless you were really on the railing, you weren't going to see the ring.
Well, and to be real honest with you, a guy like me, I'm okay with like that high of railing, but if it was any shorter and with my fear of falling from heights, I don't know if I would have been comfortable up that high, because you look down and you know you're hitting that second level pretty hard. And there has been a few instances of stuff going on there at the mall where that might have happened. And not to spoil anything for people, but legitimately though, it's a heck of an environment when you have that many levels. And JR will know this because he's done the show. But when Joke Joint in St. Paul was a thing, I did a Veterans Day show. It was a Saturday, November 11th in 2017. And the place was packed. I mean, literally every seat, every booth on the floor, every table up on the balcony. And so you just have laughter all around. And it's an amazing feeling. And I can only imagine the wrestlers and even Nerd D and DJ Hayes with all of these people. And they're watching you and they're screaming and they're yelling for you, how electric that moment is. I mean, we're on the floor and we're hearing all of these different things from all around us, whether it be other people on the floor or the people above us. Like, I mean, it was loud. I mean, after the Nerd D show that Ace and I went to, I had a headache the whole next day. After this show, my voice was hoarse. I'm still dealing with it today a little bit. It's been pretty good for the show tonight, but
Sally.
Yeah, I'm not. See, that's the thing. I'm not an old school radio guy. I don't know how to get my voice back real quick after nights like
but
that.
you drink all the time. You should be tougher than us.
Oh yeah,
I drink way too much, by the way. So I did a show last night up in Coon Rapids too. So like,
because dude, when I drink, it messes my throat bad. So
yeah,
you should be like immune to all that shit.
No, man, like, so I don't know if I've ever shared the story, but literally as a teenager, going through puberty and stuff like that, I was always at like sporting events yelling and screaming like an idiot. So it permanently damaged my vocal cords, because you do that as a teenager during puberty and all that sort of stuff. It has an effect. So when I was a bouncer, actually, it was one of the detriments is where if I would yell at somebody like to get out of the bar, sometimes my voice would crack, which if you're trying to be an authority figure to people you don't know and your voice cracks, it's immediately a fight, because you see
fighting in here.
Yeah. Get the hell out of here. Like it's a weird thing. And
I'm gonna kick your ass.
Yeah.
What?
So every once in a while it takes a little bit to come back. And lucky me too. I took the opportunity, since we were at the mall, to go at least say hi to the folks up at House of Comedy. So Chelsea and Brian, the managers there, they're super cool. Talking with Sean and Adam, the bartenders. And by the way, Adam is I did not know this beforehand, and I've talked to the dude several times before. He's a former wrestler. He wrestled for like literally one summer, did like 50 shows in about 2 weeks or whatever, just all over the upper Midwest with some other guys. And yeah, like he was like, yeah, I was kind of, they allowed me to go down to the ring the night before and do a few things. I was like, well, what the heck? So yeah, he was a cool dude. We talked wrestling. We nerded out for a little bit on Saturday before I left, and I'm exhausted because I also worked Saturday and Sunday mornings at my regular job, and so ain't no rest for the weary, or in my case, maybe the wicked. But either way, man, it was a great weekend, and you know what? And in all seriousness, and I'll say this as kindly as I can to you two gentlemen, I'm glad I got to spend as much time hanging out with you guys as I did. Ace with you on Friday and Saturday, JR with you being out there on Saturday. It was a hell of a good time. And, we don't do it nearly as much because we all have different schedules. Either, JR is doing a show or I'm doing a show or Ace is doing some of the stuff down in Iowa or whatever. So when we have these kind of weekends, man, like as much as we seem to not like each other, we can put a lot of that stuff aside because we're all still wrestling fans and we all still love this stuff as much as we do. And we can appreciate a weekend like this where you're seeing, again, matchups we may never see again because just having RVD on the show, you never know when he's going to hang him up for good. And even just how involved everybody is with different promotions and stuff like that. I mean,
how long do you think it would be, man, until he hangs it up? Because let's be honest, he smokes enough weed that he probably just doesn't feel anything anymore.
Yeah,
everything's just vibrated. Like he's just like, oh.
Yeah, he's still doing the split leg moonsault and shit like that.
I mean, he looked good in the ring, bro.
He did
Saturday. Like, I mean, he didn't look bad. Yeah, man. What a night. What a good time. So we left pretty early. Like after the show, we went up to 4 on whatever. No one from the show was really there yet. There was people. Shout out to our good friend Jordan Max.
I was gonna say her.
So she's gonna get back on the show here soon. We were talking with her about that. Always a pleasure. But yeah, we're old. Me and the boys had to get back to Roch. JR is old. I'm old. I golfed the next morning. We were ready.
Well, I mean, JR and I ended up talking in the parking ramp for 20 minutes, and then Mike Fink called. So that was another 15 or so minutes there, and my voice was already hoarse at that point. I dropped off my stuff. I went back inside and talked to Big Cat, talked to a couple other people, like I said, Devon Monroe. I was kind of done, and then, like I said, I swung over to House of Comedy and said hello to people. So
I'll tell you what, Lab Glass, if I would have had Discount with me, he would have stole the show because he would have went in there. He would have been the face because everybody would be like, oh, my gosh, look at the kitty. But then he would have, like, as soon as, like, someone in the ring tries to pick him up, he'd, like, scratch him and he'd turn heel. And then he'd just, like,
also, Tim, Nella, appreciate you with that. This is not a swerve. I do genuinely enjoy these guys for small doses, but with the amount of time we spent together over the weekend, maybe I can deal with them a little bit more than just small doses now.
Which, by the way, we got to get Timmy Nella back on the show. It's been too long.
Oh man, like, hey, yeah, are you available in February, Tim? Because
I kind of factor him in too, though, every few months. So
yeah, I know.
So I have him in there for the winter. Just no more car episodes, Mr. Nella.
Yeah. Drop our signal going to the T-Wolves game. Come on, buddy.
Yeah,
sure. We'd be happy to do a show where you're at an open house. That'd be fine.
We should.
You know what, Tim?
We have strong Wi-Fi.
Yeah, Tim. By the way, I'm going to be down at Goonies this weekend. So if you want to come over, say hi and stuff like that, man, I would love to see you.
Goonies Comedy Club, Rochester, Minnesota. Top Shelf Tommy Chillstrom.
I'll be. I mean, they don't call me Top Shelf there, which is sad in a lot of ways. But
you haven't for that yet.
Well, so I'm not gonna lie, everybody. I'm a bit of a dick when Ace is around. So
I have no idea why either.
I don't know why either. But like when he was around with the Fan Fest. I purposely, with Ethan Page, I already had him sign Top Shelf or 2 Top Shelf, and I got Dante's signature, and then everybody else, I was doing it as like a little bit of a jab to Ace because I know how much he absolutely hates me referring to myself as Top Shelf in public, but everybody was enamored with the idea.
I don't get why you think I hate it. I don't.
Oh, dude, you can say it all you want, but I know I can feel the vial that you have every time. Like I can feel the daggers you shoot through the back of my head every time.
Who hurt you that you have all this hate and fear in you, Tommy?
No one's hurt me. I just have suffered so much loss. That's what it is.
You gotta get over this PTSD, buddy.
It's not PTSD, man. I'm just telling you, Top Shelf lives his own life, and
Top Shelf lives. Sounds like
you gotta let people in, Tom. You gotta let people in. You have
shut up.
You have to be transparent.
I don't need your psychoanalyst.
Tom,
this is being a human, Tom. This is being.
Shut
You
up.
don't have to. You don't have to feel bad that you have success with your top shelf moniker. We love the fact that you do. In fact,
I don't feel
if
bad
I
about it.
didn't
I feel
love
that you feel bad about it.
No, in fact, if we felt bad about it, I'd go back to OBS where I could change your name at will.
Oh, that's true. That's true. This is allowing me to.
I can actually change your name now.
I was going to say, you can change his name now.
But I don't want to. I'm happy for you. I'm happy that people like you because you're top shelf. I love that fact. I love the fact that we were able to facilitate people enjoying your personality again.
Well, okay. Fair enough. But also. Yeah, dickheads. Golly.
I'm putting it back.
You know the sad thing is, it's like you two have the abilities to do this stuff, and I am just a bystander on this show. You guys could change my name at will. I can't do anything to your guys's. It's bull.
The only reason I could do this is because he gave me permissions, and I on StreamYard, so I have all the access.
Labglass is right. By the way, what happened to the Van Russell?
I took it off.
Yeah, but JVR is much better. He is popish. You're right, Labglass. He is very much Pope-like.
If you did here, look at there's the picture of the dog that you can see. That I don't know. It's not that it doesn't show up great when I have to lean back this far, but that's the dog.
Here's my question, JR. Now you say the dog has separation anxiety, but you have the dog's face on your shirt. Are you sure you're not the one with separation anxiety?
Yeah, because I made a shirt for my son. Because it's his dog, and I figured, well, if I'm going to make one shirt, I might as well make two.
That's a good logic.
Labglass, thanks for throwing that sub to Tim Nell. By the way, that's super awesome of you, man. Thank you for continuing to support the channel as much as you do, man. That's awesome of you.
It's like that car commercial they got out now where the kids find the dog and they adopt it, and the dad's like, so this is ours now, huh? And then by the end, he's like wearing matching shirts with the dog, and it's in the front seat, so the kids have to ride him back.
That's right.
That's what's happening over there.
It's how it's
now,
always.
Believe me, it's not.
In like 6 months, JR is going to do the show all freaking Mongo style, holding that little dog.
No, it's not.
It's not a little dog. It's not a little
60
dog.
pounds.
Oh wait, let me see the picture again.
Yeah, this dog is not small. It's supposed to be smaller. It is not small.
It's unfortunate because it's a mix between a dachshund and a corgi, so it's got these little spindly dachshund legs and this thick ass corgi body, and its poor butt sticks out weird, and it's just like but it's a nice dog. Other than the fact that I have to take it out constantly.
But it's a nice dog.
It's a nice dog. All right, well, guys, F1rst Wrestling, it was amazing. Congratulations to them. Congratulations to Eric Cannon, everyone involved, all the talent. You all did a really, really wonderful job because we were thoroughly entertained that weekend. And it was just a good time.
10 out of 5 stars if I'm Dave Meltzer on the night.
Yeah. If you haven't, guys, go on Fight. Get that show. It's like $12. You're going to be entertained. It helps them out. And it was just, don't miss it. It was a really good time. So check it out. So let's get into this, guys. We got brand new WWE Tag Champions, women's. We knew it was going to happen. They had to make that wrong right.
Hooray! I mean, what the, look.
Took them 2 extra weeks, though.
That's weird, yes. I do know that.
That's a real Vince move right there. Come on, Triple H.
I don't know, you guys. I just tuned in last night as they were walking up the entryway. And I just think this is going to be awesome, and it'll be probably a bit, but Bailey will and Bailey will have gold as well, and then that they'll be fantastic. And Bailey is the perfect head of a faction like that.
What's the name of the faction? Something damage
control.
Damage control. I love it. Yeah, and dude, Bailey's the best. I mean, like, it was so funny because I think I was even one of those people that back in the day was like, well, I mean, she's this hugger character. Like, how do you get away from it? You're never going to be able to break away from it. You're so over with these little kids. You sell merch like crazy. You're stuck hugging people for the rest of your life, Bailey. Way to go. and holy crap, she's a better heel than ever was a face.
Oh,
and I'm
definitely
100% in on it all the time. All the time.
I will say this.
Bailey got some booty too, let's be honest.
Yeah. That's why she couldn't necessarily be 100% face all the time. But also everything that she does yelling at Michael Cole, brilliant.
That's my favorite. That's one of my favorite things she does is always, I'm glad she still does it.
That's one of the things that came out though of that Thunderdome crap.
Yep.
And we've talked about that. One of my favorite things, even though the rest of it sucked, one of my favorite things was her trash talking everybody, including Cole, but everybody in the ring, and there was nobody there, so you could hear everything she said, and it was just beautiful.
Absolutely. I mean, I know she's not necessarily on SmackDown, but again, it's one of my favorite things, and I think really it does help that character even more is adding that little element, because Michael Cole is still kind of a weird character as far as announcer goes, because he's not full on face, he's not full on heel, but everybody, not everybody, but most people I know still remember him as, the mouthpiece for the Raw general manager, like that whole shtick where get the ping from the computer and then he goes reads it. He's this smug character and he somehow beat Jerry the King Lawler. And
excuse me, or no, what was it? Was it? No, it wasn't. Excuse me, because that was Vicky's thing.
Yeah.
May I have your attention, please?
I have a message from the anonymous Raw general manager.
That shit was great.
And
I'm a coal miner.
Quote,
I'm a coal miner for life.
Coal miner? Is that the thing? Oh my gosh.
You don't remember that when he took on King at Mania? That was the thing. He was like, my coal miners.
This is how I know you're never going to be a top shelf life kind of guy, Ace, is because you say stuff like that.
Dude, I'm good with that. My life's so much better than top shelf. Whoa. Which, by the way, that was it, because that was when Jerry the King Lawler's mom had a legit heart attack and died, and like the next week or 2 weeks later, Michael Cole used it against him as a promo. That shit was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. Do you guys remember? Did you guys watch the Raw live when King had his heart attack?
Yeah,
I remember watching it. Yeah,
man.
I mean, that was hard to get through, and it's not a surprise that they went through with it because, what
can you do? I mean, it's live TV. You don't know what's like. I remember watching it with a buddy and being like, "Hey, man, something's wrong. Like, do you hear like a weird noise? Like something ain't right." Well, Michael Cole kept talking, and then you could start seeing the crowd just staring at the announcing booth, and then obviously it was breaking online that by that point that dude collapsed. But it was, dude, yeah, I remember when that happened. That was insane, and his return though was awesome. That was a cool moment for him. It's crazy. Some of these old guys, man, like Jerry the King Lawler is sitting there. I mean, he did take 10 of those chest pumps from Sheamus right before that happened. Not saying it was Sheamus's fault.
Well, they do say after a certain age point you shouldn't be doing that stuff.
Yeah, Flair. He did fella the guy 10 times to the heart directly, and I'm just saying 20 minutes later, dude was punched over having a heart attack. Just saying. And yeah, like you say, I mean, you would never thought that Jerry King would almost die on TV while doing announcing, yet we all had money on Ric Flair was going to die wrestling in the ring last month.
He almost did. Apparently, there was a couple times where he was genuinely concerned about, or he was getting overly winded, is what what they were saying. But he didn't die. Everybody.
It would have been a better ending story-wise.
Yeah, we've all seen the end of The Wrestler.
We know what happens. Some other things going on worth talking about. Well, not really maybe talking about, but just saying it. CZW, I guess, is bringing back Tournament of Death. Dude. October 29th. They already got Necro Butcher, which I didn't even know that guy was still going.
Or alive.
Right? I know for a minute there, I thought he had cancer. Maybe he beat it. I don't know.
Yeah, Mickey that's what Knuckles, I thought too.
Mickey Knuckles, Otis Kogar, Bobby Beverly, already announced. Have you guys ever watched a Tournament of Death?
No.
I saw the coverage. I think it was Vice had the wrestler show.
No, so
some of that stuff.
Vice did just a documentary on CZW and DJ Hyde, and it followed him through the whole day of the Tournament Death. That's a great documentary. Guys, watch that on YouTube. It's like 40
I think that's the one where Nick Gage got it like up here, right?
Yeah,
that's where I remember seeing it. I think was,
and then like some big fat dude got the pin of nails like in his head to the point that they had to like hold him down with 3 people and then get pliers to pry it off his head.
Yeah.
It's insane. But I mean, the Tournament of Death period are insane. I got one of the DVDs and they're just insane. I know CZW's had some like questionable things in the last few years, and I know it's not quite the same it used to be. But we'll see. Maybe Tournament Death brings them back to being one of those forerunners as far as hardcore companies. Because let's be honest, a lot of the people that were really CZW stars have all gone and left. Majority of them are in like GCW or other places. So
yeah, and you know, if you need a guy for the tournament, we're gonna have a dude on the October 11th show here, the Reverend Rick Norrin. I mean, he's done some deathmatch stuff too. So I'm putting it out there. I'm just going to let you guys know. I mean, I don't know if CZW watches or listens to us, but if this does get over that way, I'm sure he might be interested. Just saying. Putting it out there.
Check this out. I just saw this. Jon Moxley was supposed to go on a 6-week vacation after AEW All Out, but changed because of the brawl that broke out between CM Punk and the AEW EVPs.
Yep.
It's amazing how we still hear little things coming off that thing and how that affected so much and so much of their talent. I mean, that's just insane. We still haven't seen Punk. Will we see him tomorrow? Who knows?
No, we
he's
won't
suspended.
see him. We won't see anybody until this investigation is over.
Yeah,
I guarantee it. Being the Elite is on hiatus until further.
I've seen
notice.
that. I mean, at the end of the day, though, first of all, like, how did no one get video of this? Like, how no one back there?
I think somebody does.
Cameras.
But,
they're saying that MJF witnessed the whole thing.
Yeah. Also, when they mean investigation, like third party is what we've been seeing. They also aren't saying that it is a police matter at this point because it is in Chicago. What I was hearing initially was that Ace Steel was at least arrested. I don't think he ended up getting charged with anything. I think the Bucks dropped it, or at least Nick Jackson dropped it. I don't know exactly because, again, it's not been completed as far as the investigation goes, but that's what I've still been hearing is that he did drop charges. But
Kenny was the guy that he bit.
Well, he bit him, but he threw a chair apparently and hit Nick in the eye and knocked him out.
Which is funny because this guy caused the most harm, yet his thing is, I only did it because they put my wife in danger. No, man, you put your wife in more danger, you dumbass.
Well, like what I loved is like every Twitter account that was a wrestling fan posted like Braun Strowman throwing the chair at Roman Reigns, those gifts, or even like from BTE where during the Civil War, Cody Rhodes throws a chair in the locker room. And like flies over everybody's head, like they were throwing a lot of those stuff out. I'm like, I get it, like it's kind of funny to the fans and stuff, but this is still real life stuff that's happening. Like the fight wasn't a work, if you will. I mean, that was a real thing. People got suspended for it, so I don't know, man.
I did see that, Dan. I did see they added Nick Gage to the cruise.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
He's gonna cut the pizza.
Hope they got a lot of. That's literally the only thing he does. He doesn't even match. He's just in the buffet all weekend.
Sponsored by Domino's, by the way, which is again, I love that part that they got so upset that they end up being a sponsor.
He got told he wasn't allowed to talk about it anymore. Like Tony Khan, I guess, told him he can't talk about it anymore with the Domino's stuff because they got mad.
Right.
Yeah. Now, you can all you want. Now the other thing too is it's coming out that Punk's also legitimately injured and is going to be out 6-8 months.
Yeah.
At this point, even if you don't fire this guy at the end of the day, like his title run is over.
Yeah, I think it was a
you can't do no interim.
Yeah, it is an interim. It is not interim.
And when if he does come back, he doesn't get no shots at that. Like that should be part of the punishment for the shit he pulled.
SB Nations, their cage side seats page, had a really interesting article on the 8th that is entitled "This Could Be the End of CM Punk," and they ran through the whole thing, especially with him being injured, and the fact that if this is him burning a potential bridge in AEW, I mean, he can't go back to WWE because he does not have a good relationship with Triple H. I assume he won't be allowed back in Impact because he made it very clear when he left back in the day when they were doing the ROH TNA crossover that he was not a fan of the company. He made it very
wouldn't go
vocal.
back there. They couldn't pay him what he'd want over there anyway.
Well, I
that's
don't think.
exactly it.
I think his thing though is when he's done, he's done. He ain't gonna go nowhere. He has no ambition to go anywhere.
No.
Like he's fine with just not wrestling again. And I think that's why he's being the way he is, because he realized like, oh, shit's not as different over here as it was in the WWE. Although it's like, well, yeah, but you're the problem here.
I think
not completely, but you're part of the problem.
Yeah. I think one of the things that's kind of telling about him is that if you recall when he first came in, he said one of the things that made him want to come to AEW was the way that they handled the Brody Lee situation, and everybody kind of kept to themselves and you know, kept it under their hats. And yet he comes and does this presser, whatever, and literally eviscerates Colt and everybody else and airs out every one of his grievances. And it's like, really? You are such a hypocrite.
Well, yeah, because like what he's doing now is the shit he bitched about in WWE.
Yeah.
Is the other thing too. So it's, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you're Tony Khan, who are you trying to protect here? You trying to protect, because it's all come out now too that the Bucks and Kenny have all put feelers out outside of AEW. Kenny did it during his timeout, and the Bucks apparently have done it recently. So if they're all fishing and you're Tony Khan, at the end of the day, because let's be honest too, you had a really great company going before Punk. You had a lot of steam. Punk was kind of that thing that really shot you up, but in that year, he went from bringing you to here to now he's crashing down on you. So it's almost like, who do you protect? This guy, this asshole that gave you 1 year and is now about to like jeopardize everything you built over the last 3 years? Or the 3 guys who were there for you, and to be real honest, you paid for what they'd created. What's BS?
I think he's talking about the Bucks and Kenny. Yeah, I saw something today where the people that broke the story about the Bucks said they haven't talked with anybody. They talked to. I mean, they all have friends. I mean, KO is one of their good friends. They said,
but here's the deal: if it's getting out like that, even if they didn't, that means they're talking to somebody saying,
"Well, they're talking to town. They're talking to their friends,
right?" And they're probably like, "Hey, you know, things are crazy over here." You know what I mean? Oh, it wasn't his dog; it was Punk's dog.
It was
it was Larry.
Larry.
And the other thing too, though, is why wouldn't they when they already know that they wanted the Bucks, they wanted Omega. You know what I mean? Those guys they had something good going. Why ruin it at that time? But
well, they wanted BT on the network and stuff too. So, yeah, I mean, it's BS as far as they didn't reach out themselves because they are under contract. So, again, guys, we understand
well, that's what feelers means, guys.
Yeah.
When they say feelers, it's not that they called AAA. They're talking to their friends who work there to be like, would they hire us?
Yeah, like what's the situation?
Yeah,
especially with the Young Bucks, they have to look at the situation of, you know, part of it is would WWE be putting money towards a tag team division? Because if they're not, and they're going to just pair some guys up or just call people up that were working in NXT, you know, then maybe they don't want to go there. I mean, they were still very successful in getting booked all over the independents. But here's the thing: if you lose your last 3 EVPs. And we've mentioned this in past shows. Maybe Cody Rhodes was the one who was holding a lot of this shit backstage together. We don't exactly know the whole situation with all this stuff, but if you lose your last 3 EVPs that helped start the company, in my mind, that looks really shitty on Tony Khan because of the fact is you don't have this company. You don't help because it still helps, right? Like he's the money, he's the backer, he's the money guy. And it is still his company, but without them doing all in, and you see that's a viable option, you don't put money behind it. And these are the guys who help build that thing. They're the ones who put their reputations on the line, put their fucking money on the line, excuse my French, but the reality is, like, this is somewhere in between that you have to live with what got you there and what might put you over the top. You know, like, I think sometimes it's like WCW when they brought in Warrior, right? With the one Warrior Nation bull garbage to fight out the NWO. It didn't work. And you still have to run with what got you to that point. So that's why Warrior was eventually just let go. It was faded out, and you just kept with the NWO. It kept growing. It got a little too big, but, you know, mistakes were made. But the reality is like, you just have to work with what got you there. That's 90% of the time.
Well, the other thing, too, is all 4 EVPs lost all their power. That was very much a story 6 months ago, 7-8 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
So as the guys who really at the end of the day created all AEW, this was all their thing. Tony Khan became that partner that really put the money behind it, and then all of a sudden took all the power away. And then on top of that, all these reports of him not being extremely stable backstage and him having favorites and him talking and acting like he has this open door policy, but other people saying no, he doesn't, and actually he may not actually take care of like some of the cultural people and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Where it's just, you know, the one that stood out for me is Billy Gunn when he said it's the Wild Wild West of AEW, and even him saying I came from WWE where there's structure. And to be honest, you can be creative and have structure, and that's not what's happening here. It's just people being creative and running with whatever they want, where we all know that. We've been in entertainment, JR, we've been in radio. Yeah. Sometimes ideas need to be told now.
Absolutely. I mean,
that's
this is
just how it goes.
In this, you guys, this is from Cody leaving, which everybody was shocked by and thought it would never happen, to the whole situation with MJF. To me, that's where I was really pretty clear that Tony Khan had lost control of everything. Not with the Bucks. I mean, and I'll be honest with you, when I think about the talent that they have, if the Bucks and Kenny are gone, will it hurt them? Yes. If Punk is gone, will it hurt him? Yes. But are there enough guys there to make it interesting for me? Is it going to be the same? No. But I mean, Orange Cassidy's there. Darby's still there. Sammy Guevara's there. I feel like as long as Jericho, Moxley, and Danielson are there to kind of to hold things together, I'll still be interested. Is Malachi Black gone for good? Who knows?
I think Malachi Black might be retiring, to be real honest.
Well, I mean, but
just
that's
the way he's been saying. I think he may be done.
Yeah, but is he gone for good? We don't know. That leaves. I mean, you know, that whole House of Black thing. I mean, I feel bad if that's the case. I feel bad for Julia Hart because she was starting to get something to do.
But I think they could still go with that. Because let's be honest, it was already kind of being set up that I think it was going to come out she was the leader anyways. So now you can kind of just jump the gun a little bit and go with it, and her and Brody and Buddy can keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean,
with that, and it'll still, because to be honest, I mean, Brody's a big old hoss that.
Yeah,
it'll be fine. It will be definitely fine.
That wouldn't be the worst thing that ever happened.
Oh, that wouldn't, Dan. That's a pretty good idea. And Labglass, you're right. They do have enough talent for 2 big companies. I mean, just on either one of the rosters, really. But I think that's why ROH was purchased by Tony Khan. And one thing that was brought up with this whole CM Punk and the Elite stuff was Tony Khan is the owner, president, and CEO. So he technically has 3 roles, but he's also head of creative. He's doing all this other stuff. And Ace is not a dig on you or the team, but I always think of like the Cowboys, right? Like Jerry Jones is the owner, and they also is still the GM.
Oh, for the love of God, we've been saying to not have him be GM for like the last 5 years.
Right. But there's a lot of coaches who want to come in and be the coach and the GM as well.
Yeah. Oh,
and so there's always there's always
focus on one.
And
excel at one.
Exactly. And I think that's where you're seeing it right now, because Tony Khan and his family own not only AEW, they own the Jaguars, which is very prevalent. Everybody knows that. They also own Fulham in the English Premier League or English soccer, excuse me. So they have already a lot of things going on. And obviously Tony Khan's connections with having the Jaguars be part of a national level of entertainment and sports. TV contracts was a big deal on this one, having to launch with TNT. They had connections with possibly Fox, but they already had picked up SmackDown. CBS was part of this deal. They could even have stuff in talks with NBC because they broadcast a lot of the English Premier League stuff, which obviously WWE is over there as well. So
I was going to say that won't happen.
Yeah, so
not unless they buy AEW, which how funny would that be in like 3 years? WWE just buys AEW. It just crashed and burned because they never recover from this.
I think they are, but yeah, I'm just saying like that was another reason for Tony Khan was the fact that so All In made it viable, and that people want to see a different level of a top-notch company, and he was the one that had all the contacts as far as finding a TV deal. So.
Yep, that's
it's a lot of different.
That's how it goes.
Stuff,
that's the thing. That's what we all knew what was happening. It's just to take their power away. It's like, where's their incentive now? You know what I mean?
Well, exactly.
And we already know that it's been said Cody, like that was a factor for him because he very much enjoyed being involved in the producing and the creative and all that. Because hey, that's what Papa did. That's what Papa Dusty did. And was a genius at it, which I take that to heart too. I think this guy learned from one of the all-time greatest in the industry ever in Dusty Rhodes, his father. So, I mean, if this guy's hopping out of there to go back to WWE, to me, that does say something, first of all, because again, there's not a lot of people that were better than Dusty Rhodes in this business. So we'll see what all happens. My final verdict on this is if Punk doesn't come back, they're not hurt at all. Yeah, you may not have some of the people, but I mean, it's better than losing the Bucks, and because I wonder what kind of contract situation that would be. Because could the Bucks and them sue since they technically created All Elite Wrestling? Like, I wonder what kind of things were put into those contracts in case something like this happened, because it had to be talked about. So it's very, very interesting. We'll see what happens as these coming weeks come. But what do you guys got going on? Anything to promote this weekend or coming up?
On the Laugh Boat with Mark Poulos out of Afton on Saturday the 17th. Hope it doesn't rain, but I don't care. I'll be in a boat.
Fun.
I will be in Rochester this weekend, man. 16th and 17th, right there. Goonies' second weekend back. Obviously, couldn't do the first weekend because I was hanging with you guys, but good to be back to Goonies. Looking forward to seeing Mark and everybody there. I believe it's Mike Brody as the headliner and Ebenezer Murdasa. I got to get that name down because I'm hosting. So, but it should be a good weekend. So, like I said, Ace, if you want to come out, Tim Nell, if you want to come out and have a drink, hang out, be good to see you both, if possible. If not, I get it. No big deal.
Oh, good job, Danny, getting your new Kia, baby.
No, money
does not make the product. You got to have some love behind it. That's the biggest thing with a lot of entertainment stuff. Is if you don't have love for it, it ain't gonna work.
Wrestling at the Mall of America, perfect example. So we had a good time. Again, we got a lot of great people that are going to be coming through and over the next, through the winter, guys. We even have a couple special surprises that we may be doing for some of the big shows coming up too. So watch for that. This weekend, I won't be there, but if you're in Des Moines, Platforms, 8 or 9 o'clock bell time, Impact Pro Wrestling will be again live at the Platforms nightclub. So make sure you check it out. It was a blast.
Doors at 8, bell at 9.
Doors at 8, bell at 9. Get out there. They got some real great matchups. A bunch of the people who come through this show you'll see on that card. Weekend after that, on the 24th, Fort Dodge, Iowa, Absolute Pro Wrestling is going to be in town. So make sure you guys check them out. Unfortunately, I cannot be at that one as well because I will be moving. So I already talked to Van Prentice. Sorry about that. But we will be back for the Waterloo show in November. That's going to be a big one. Champion getting crowned that night. And of
Gold
course,
Rush.
Of course, October 22nd, Madhouse Wrestling, Newton, Iowa. Did you see that people are trying to sell fake tickets to this thing? That's how hot this show is, guys.
Wow.
That's how hot this show is. Also, big congratulations to Madhouse IWTV. It's official. You can watch all of Madhouse Wrestling on IWTV. Subscribe. It's like $10, $12 a month for some of the best independent wrestling in the world, in the country. And you get to see Madhouse Wrestling, and you get to see me and maybe some of the 2 Count guys on some of those shows. So make sure you check it out. The last show is up right now, October 22nd. That show, when it's said and done, it will be up on IWTV as well. So big congratulations to Luke and Mike on that one. And we can't wait to see you guys at that next show.
Absolutely. All right. Well, everybody, thanks so much for your support. Thanks for your cheers, your bits, your subs, and all of that business. We appreciate it. Without you guys, we're just talking to each other, which isn't the worst thing, but we appreciate the fact that you all are along with us for the ride. Take care. We will see you next week with do we have a guest?
We don't, but we might throw we might pull an old returning guest for some fun next week, just for fun.
Perfect. Okay, guys, thanks again. Have a great night. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.